Welcome to our Chamber Connect Live. I'm Sarah Ray, President and CEO of the Chamber, and excited to be with you all today. And we have our wonderful guest and one of my very good friends, Wynn McBrayer from Jones-Wynn Funeral Home. Hey, girlie, how are you?
Great. How are you?
Doing good.
I'm great.
Glad to have you on. And,
glad to be here.
We're excited. Yeah, it's fun. So we're just going to talk through a little bit today. I know you guys have obviously had to change a lot of the way you do things with the pandemic and have done a brilliant job. I know that you've also been doing some advocating, not just on behalf of your own business, but on behalf of other funeral homes on a national level, which is awesome. And all the while, like myself, being a mom at home with 4 children, and you have twins. So I think that makes you the winner. So we're just going to kind of chat and see where we go with things. But kind of first, this is my new thing. I feel like we'll just do like a little icebreaker here. Ellen, I want you to get your phone out. Mine's got a little watch party going right now. I want you to, and I'll do it too. I want you to pull up, call it like the 5th picture on your phone. We've all been dealing with these crazy Corona times, which is pretty fun and kind of crazy. So pull up your 5th picture and show us and tell us what's going on.
Okay. This is scary, Sarah, but I'm going to go along with you. Wonderful. Okay. Well, speaking of being a mom, here is my 5th picture. I was getting ready to post it, and that's a email notification of my little ones, the twins, and my teenager, and then little Wynn down there. So they were swimming, and I sent that to the grandparents and, all the grandparents and friends of the other day, having fun. And now that school's out. So,
yeah. Right. Which, I mean, I'm kind of glad school is out, but at the same time, like that was my saving grace. Cause I knew Avery had his call with his teachers, and then we had assignments, and now he's like, it's summer. Like, I don't have to do anything. I'm like, but I need to work. So it's a weird little balance. Yeah. So here's mine. Speaking of, so that's Avery. And that was Friday. He goes to Beulah, and they did a end of year school car parade so he could say bye to his teachers. And so we took the Jeep and went and drove by, and it was fun, but just weird, like not being able to, hug his teachers by or see his friends. So it's just crazy. It's just a crazy time. So tell us, how is it going being at home and running a business and having a husband and all of that? Like, how are things in Ellen's world? Personal.
So, you're correct. It is a challenging time for everyone. We have an amazing team, our funeral home family, and just being able to serve families. And back in 2010, I became accustomed to working from home or from Boston when our son was born with a heart condition and on hospice. So I got real good at working from home, a lot of the behind the scenes. So we sort of transitioned back into that same structure, going through this time frame in everybody's life. So we have a wonderful team. It has changed the structure of the funeral home. With the social distancing is hard anyway. And then when you add grief and what the families that we're serving go through, it's just a tough time right now for everyone. And you're right. I've spoken about that on a national level and just been an advocate for the last responders all across America. I've interviewed with the New York Times and the LA Times and the AARP. And it's just important for people to understand that grief, that is, if no one acknowledges grief and the pain and the loss, then it could go, it could go and never be seen about, so grief and the mental state there, it's a very real thing, because naturally when you have funerals and visitations, it's a time for the community to come together and to come and support and love on you and give comfort. And without that, we're just encouraging families to use technology, leverage technology to try to still make those connections happen. We put in cameras. We have always wanted to put in cameras so that we could have live funerals and or record funerals for families that can't travel. So we just sped that up and went ahead and installed that, and had a wonderful team come in and help us with that, so that we can do live funerals. And I believe that the live funerals will be here to stay. I mean, it's just been such a wonderful way for people to connect and to watch while they're doing their own busy lives and not being able to be there. A lot of times family members, extended families, will even come and sit, where the service is in our parking lot, just to still be near their family, and then watch it, on their phone in the car and stuff. So it's just been a different time. My heart goes out to so many people, because I worry about the grief journey, and people feeling alone anyway when they go through a death and a tragedy. So
yeah, and that's that was kind of, not in a bad way, but something that sparked my attention. I've obviously followed you guys on Facebook for years, and I was scrolling through one, I think it was on a weekend, and it had the chapel, and it was like, may you rest in peace, whomever it was. And at first I was like, that's kind of crazy that you're able to do that, but it's also so innovative. And so, like you said, so therapeutic to those where, people that normally wouldn't have been able to come, or, were traveling from afar, that they're able to do that now. So it's really cool. And it's funny because we've kind of done the same thing with the chamber. We had been talking about all of these virtual platforms, for a long time, but pulling the trigger was always one of those, oh, we'll do that later, we'll do that next year. It's a nice to have, but it's not essential, right? And then when your hands are tied and you can't, both of us, we're in businesses where face to face is so important, and that's what we encourage people to do. And obviously, especially in your world with grieving, people need that. So I think it's great that even if they can't be physically in a space to be able to grieve together, that you're able to give that to them. So good job. And I feel like you guys have done a wonderful job about, supporting others in the community, sharing information, sharing resources. You guys are always there, all in the trenches of everything. And then to know that you've gone and taken that onto a national level, I have to tell them. So Ellen emailed me. When did you text me? It was, a couple of months ago, but you were like, hey, I need your help. I need to get with the governor. And I'm like, all of the different requests, I hadn't got one to get in touch with the governor yet specifically. So tell them about that journey and why what you were doing. I think that was super cool.
So we're part of the National Funeral Directors Association. I'm on the national spokesperson committee for that association. So I was doing an interview about every day, right when the pandemic started, just about the last responders, which that's what they're calling funeral service professionals, or last responders. I also add that we're emotional first responders. We are the bridge between a world where like the hospitals are able to close the door and not allow visitors in. I think the greatest form of love anybody can show right now is to not accidentally spread this virus. So we're in the middle. We're a bridge between emotionally helping families who, with or without the virus, affecting them personally, but it is affecting their ability to be with family and loved ones. So the majority of people right now their loved ones are passing away alone. So I say all that because in that time frame, our colleagues in New York, the last responders in New York, when it was a hot spot, right when it started, it was just really a tough time for them. And we needed the governor of New York to sign, the National Association needed them to sign, giving permission for our license. Each license for funeral home, for funeral director, is for that state specific. So we had about 400 to 600 volunteers ready to go help, but we needed the governor to give them permission for their license to be accepted and valid there in New York. And so that day, I think you were doing something with the chamber, which y'all do an amazing job. You were doing something, you said you were on a Zoom call with our governor. And I was like, hey, can you get him to talk to the governor of New York to sign? He had it ready just to sign, but he had so much on his plate in New York with the hospitals. And so the funeral home and funeral directors and our colleagues there and here, everywhere, the biggest concern and fear right now for funeral service is the lack of PPE, personal protective equipment. And so because our funeral professionals our team members go when they go out to bring someone into our care that has passed away, they still have to wear and be protected just like a nurse or doctor that you see. So it's just to be able to thank you for your help. By that nightfall, when I asked you that nightfall, he had signed it. So I gave you credit. I was like, that's right. That's our chamber president. She can do it all. So
I don't know if it was really me. I just know I sent the message to where I knew to send them. But yeah, I think that's great too. And I love what you bring up about last responders. I'd never heard that before. So I think that's a great term. But, super mad respect to all of the first responders that are dealing with this. But there are so many other people that are having their hands in everything, whether it's, building or, manufacturing the PPE for businesses so that, or the healthcare workers or the teachers so that they can provide meals to kids, so it's just so, it's kind of full circle. And I've never heard last responders, but it totally makes sense. And especially in a very vulnerable time for everyone. And then to have to go through all of that process. And I know a handful of people, not from COVID, but people who have had loved ones that have passed away during this time, some who definitely used your business and have been so grateful and compassionate about, it's a hard thing because it's not, funerals have always been, a great, provide a great sense of closure, and not being able to have that is so, in uncertain times, this is creating more uncertainty and this kind of, never ending kind of when's the next milestone kind of thing. So I think it's great that you guys have been innovative. So I know the governor just did new shelter in place orders or just updated the executive orders on Friday. I honestly haven't read them knee deep to see. So what are you guys doing right now? How are you guys in operation? Is it still the same? Is it a little different? Do you have a plan going forward?
It's similar to it. They have restricted it to 10. And so they're slowly going to implement and let us allow more. I believe it's 20 or 25. I need to check those numbers to be for certain. So slowly, and we have talked and had many team huddles to know what that means, how it looks, and how we can and allow families to have that support, where we'll sit. And so we have a lot of team huddles because it changes minute by minute, especially right in the beginning of this pandemic. But some of the things that you just spoke about with grief and creating more uncertain times that we're fixing to implement. So you can watch our Facebook page for that, is that we're going to offer online grief courses by a trained grief counselor. So we're excited that that's coming, that we're going to be able to offer for free to our whole community, whether they use our service or not, if they just need that extra help, and it will be specific for what their needs are. If it was a spouse, or they can go into that online course, and it's not something you have to take lessons on, but you can go and find the topic of the thing that person is hurting for, because grief is such a long journey, and it can be. And our fear is that this COVID and sheltering at home and not being with that personal connection, we want to be able to offer support and help to anyone that might need that extra help mentally to find those answers, because grief is a long journey, and it goes through stages. So we're excited to be able to offer that to our community, because this is our 70th year in business.
Wow.
3 generations. My grandmother was one of the, I don't know if you know this, she was one of the very first, might be the first licensed funeral director, female, in Georgia. So 3 generations of husband and wives teams that were both licensed, which women in funeral service is a growing trend. So it's neat to have. We were going to have a 70th anniversary, which we'll have next year now, but we'll have a concert on the lawn and some barbecue. But to be able to offer different things to help people moment by moment and step by step. So many of these loved ones that we're caring for have told us, we haven't seen our loved one in so many weeks, just to be able to provide them 10, 20, 30 minutes alone time to give them that gift back. It's just, it's what we do. It's who we are. And it's also important. So
yeah,
appreciate the support.
Yeah. And that's all. I didn't even know about the grief counseling classes. That's amazing. So we'll make sure, and in the chats, we'll make sure and link to your Facebook page and your website too, so that people can get, make sure and get that, which is awesome that, again, just to kind of pat you on the back, you guys are so well respected in our community. Your family, obviously, I didn't know it was 70 years. So the chamber, it's our 75th anniversary this year. So we were all right there starting to shake up Douglas County all at the same time. But just knowing that you guys do things like that in normal times, the sunrise services, and, just always out there working with our seniors, working with our community to make sure that, it's not, it's not just a business to you guys. It's a lifestyle. It's your way of giving back to the community, however that is, and truly using your strengths, and your talents, because again, not everybody is, ingrained with empathy, and I'm talking about myself, but not everybody has that. But it's great because you guys can be that outlet for people, and even in a virtual things that, I know a lot of people have talked about and are worried, concerned about, is with people who battle depression and people who are battling grief and just all these emotions and not having anywhere to go or to turn to during this. So I think it's great that y'all are doing that. So let me ask you like a personal question. Nothing scary, I promise. How are you keeping it all together during all of this? What's your outlet? How are you staying mentally clear and collected and calm?
Love and prayers do matter. Right? Just like everybody else, just support, my husband and my mom, who's also, my friend. I'll either call her and say, I need mom advice, boss advice, or best friend advice. So just taking it one moment at a time. Same way you probably are, being able to see technology change from what a lot of people claimed were distractions to have outlets like what the chamber's doing, and to still be connected in a part of our world, even if we're socially distanced. It's been neat to see, social media change to be really a way, it makes it a small town again, if you will, and we can all still be connected that way. So.
Well, and I'm sure you're the same as well. I mean, even with, your virtual funerals, like we have expanded our, footprint through our virtual events in ways that I couldn't have anticipated. We're thinking, oh, it's great if somebody's stuck in the office, they can log in. But what we've seen is we have people that we've never seen face to face that are coming to our virtual event. So we're like, it's kind of an untapped market per se. So it's great. And, it's one of those where until, as bad as it sounds, like until you're kind of forced to change and to kind of pivot, you just kind of push it off. But then once you kind of embrace it, it's really cool to see what can come of that, and even on a professional, like put your business hat on, that just puts that many more people that you're reaching and creating those, that impact on. So when the time comes that they do have to deal with grief and losing a loved one, they'll think of you. And that's, so, I know you're doing it because you have a good heart, but it's also very good marketing. So,
and it truly allows people to know who we are in our hearts of service. For example, we served a family and sadly only 10 people could be there, but we had extended family call and ask us, and we placed a rose on the pews for their loved one. So when they walked down, the aisle, they were able to look over and see, okay, that would be where our cousin and their family would be sitting. And so just to make those personal connections, to be able to help, and just, we had another family who right at the beginning couldn't travel here, and it was, two brothers couldn't get here. And so, they were talking about how their dad loved to grill, and they said he wasn't the best griller, but they weren't able to get together so that they could have a service at that time, and they had to wait. And so just in talking about not delaying that process, we all decided that they could go home, and they decided to do FaceTime together and grill and tell stories about their dad. And it was just beautiful to be able to help and brainstorm with families on ways to still find that connection and celebrate a life that means so much to so many people. So, and it's been also neat to see the community jump onto some of our live services and say, I don't know this family, but we're praying for you, and offer support that way. So it's it gives us peace of mind to know that in a world where everybody has to stay away from each other, that those connections and support are still here. And so it's just similar to what you guys do, networking and love on people and be there for people in times when they need it. So,
yeah. And I'm not going to lie. I can't wait to start. I know that, look, don't tell me. I know I can't. I just miss people. Like I miss seeing people and connecting with them. I mean, it's great to do it virtually, but like, I don't know when the time will come when we can all hug and embrace again or, anything like that. But I was at lunch the other day and I saw like 3 chamber members come in and I was like, it was one of those where you're like, I want to say, hey, but I can't. And I saw Brian Hill from United Community Bank. I saw him at the grocery store the other day and it was the same thing. It was, you get so, as sad as it sounds, like you get so used to not seeing your normal people, then you see them again and it's like, oh, what do I do? So it's, yeah, I know. I miss the way things were. I'll definitely be interested to see how we get back to some kind of the way it used to be. But I'm also mindful of the seriousness of all of this and that, we just have to take it slow. So, yeah. So, what else? Anything else coming up? It seems like you guys have got some great ideas and strategies coming forward. And just
I do want to say one thing though about the connections. I do feel like and I have such a hope that moving forward, I miss people too so much, but I do believe moving forward, I don't know if you've ever read the book Lean In, Be Present. I feel like this may create a new, deeper meaning of what connections and networking and a new value to not taking those things for granted because life is so short. I learned that when my dad passed away. That's how I was called into funeral service, really, even though I grew up in it. Was when he passed away, I was in college. He just massive heart attack. And so, you're not, no one's guaranteed tomorrow. So I have hope that this awareness will bring such big love and connection, even more so that people will lean in more and not look at their watch or their phone to go to the next thing, but enjoy and be present with those people and loved ones really value. So moving forward, I just do. I think it has strengthened. I think it'll strengthen everyone's connection and bond and appreciation for life and the value of it, even during hard times. So,
yeah, I think we were on a couple of weeks ago and Rachel Rainey from the newspaper, the Times Georgian, she was on and she was talking about her favorite thing. It is an awful situation, this pandemic. It's all, it's very hard to go through, but there are, little bright spots of things that are refreshing and exciting. And she said her favorite thing was, she said, people are looking up. And I was like, what do you mean? And she was saying, you see people go around, they're focused on their phones, they're not in meetings engaging, but people, she's like, I look around my neighborhood and people are out walking with their families and they're chatting to neighbors from an acceptable distance and, they're engaging more. And it's just exactly what you said. People are leaning in and I love it. Businesses like yours being super innovative and creative. That's one of the reasons we started this little broadcast, because there are so many stories to share about ways that people have adapted to this. And, I think that also there's a lot more humility and, humanity behind things like your mom popped in and said, hey, earlier. And, I was on a call earlier and, well, I was about to call him out, but one of our friends, chamber friends, he was like, sorry, my dog is whining in the background. And normally people would be like, oh, that's so unprofessional. And we're all just like, well, put your dog up there. Like, let us see him. So I feel like it's, leaning in and letting people in because, I'm in my office right now, but half the week I'm at home and chances are my 6-year-old's going to pop in and, tell you, hey, but that's okay. Like people have kind of gotten beyond that. But it lets people in, into a whole other layer of people. And I love that. So cool.
So true. And to follow back up about the grief online course, we haven't launched it yet. So we're going to be launching it soon. So y'all, keep an eye out for that. So
we will absolutely make sure, and we can share that out through our chamber network and make sure that everybody has that information. So
wonderful. Cool. That'd be great.
Well, I appreciate you joining us today. And it's been so great to just see your face, if anything. And just, again, appreciate all that you guys are doing, for people that are grieving right now. on a national level. I mean, that's just pretty awesome. And for those people in our community that might not need your services yet, but that you're able to help them navigate through different circumstances here in the future. So we appreciate you guys, and we'll make sure. And we don't have any questions today, but that's fine. If we get any after this, we'll make sure and get you guys in touch with Ellen and her team. And just appreciate everybody joining out today. Thank you, Ellen, again.
Thank you, and thank you for all y'all do. Y'all have a great team. We appreciate you very much. So
thank you. I can't wait till we get to see each other in person. And then if everybody, we appreciate you tuning in, and we will be here next week. And it's going to be a little different. We are meeting with Dr. Dimitri Arfanakis, and we are going to see a tour of his dental office and how he has had all of this new equipment and processes and procedures and things. You know, people are still scared to go out. So he's got some really cool tools and gadgets that he's going to show us, and how they're able to open up their doors and, in a safe environment. So that'll be next, I want to say Wednesday, next Monday at 3:00. So we appreciate everybody tuning in. Ellen, again, thank you so much. Tell the kiddos I said, hey, how's Wynn before we go?
He's doing wonderful. He's doing wonderful. He did get scared to go, get his yearbook and last minute things from school, because he goes, Mom, my heart. And I said, buddy, you'll be all right. So it's good. One way we have fun and unwind at night is we always play Go Fish. We've started that family tradition, and it gets intense with 6 people.
And I think, Wynn's a little competitive, isn't he?
He is very competitive. He's got to fight for God, and his little sisters give him a challenge. So
he's got a birthday coming up too, doesn't he?
He will be 10 this month. So
wow, that is amazing. That is amazing. I know you guys are so blessed with him, and all of the rest of them. I just know he's your little warrior. So you'll have to give them all a big hug from us, and we appreciate you so much.
I will. Appreciate you too. Thank you all. Good seeing you.
Everybody, have a good week.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.